TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to another week of TGR News.
Welcome.
Well, we are, again, just like 2 weeks ago, we won't have the clips here of passing out the food because last week I did a 2-week amount because I was in the Army and all last week and I didn't have time. And this has been a busy month because of all the Army. And tomorrow I go back to the Army for another week, but then it'll be it. So it was a busy month. That's why our schedules of the videos are different, and the schedules of the passing out the food is different. And but starting next week we go back to normal. But all the food that the people are used to getting, they got every bit of it. We just 2 weeks in a row we doubled it up for them, so we didn't have to go every week. But starting next week we'll go back to every week. And you guys' blessing for helping us pass out the food to all the people here who need it really is an amazing confirmation of God's vision to me that He gave me, that this is what we need to do. So amen for that, and amen to you guys. So I guess praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Well, Minister of Education, Shasha Biton, and her second in command, Igor Slovics, falling out last week, if you remember we talked about that, has now come to light. Prime Minister, what had happened is Prime Minister Bennett was calling Igor Slovic, the second in command of Shasha Biton, pressuring him to start vaccinating kids in schools. He decided to quit to get out of the pressure of doing something he felt that was immoral.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think good on him. That and as you've probably heard for the last few weeks, we're talking about it. Prime Minister Naftali Bennett is really pushing hard for these vaccines and a lot of things that I don't really agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even though Prime Minister Bennett wanted to physically mark the unvaccinated, it seemed, with the bracelet.
Yeah, I remember that.
It seems like we still have some good people in control. The government has canceled this, and it will not be made in law, which means people stand out and say, "What's going on? This is ridiculous. Glad. This is too much." And
I remember seeing on the news they talked to one of the mall owners, one of the guys who owns the mall, and he said how ridiculous it was that they even had to protest about something like that, talking about marking people. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, how. That really is insane. That's going way too far.
Yeah, think about it. All the people will know what's going on inside my body if I vaccinate, if I not. My most secret things about my health, my health and
you'll be
my
marked
choice.
And everyone knows.
It's
insane. But we got out of that. So dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
Well, Prime Minister Bennett has started the 4th vaccine and is also saying that he is keeping the options of putting us back on full lockdown. This is, I don't know if you guys remember, but what was it, 6 months ago or 7 months ago it would have been, in his campaign, his whole deal was no restrictions, no this, vote for me and I'll do everything different and I'll do everything better. Yeah. And when he was saying that, we had, 2,000-3,000 cases in intensive care and 10,000 new cases a day. And what's the numbers now? We have 50 in intensive care and how many new 1,500 new cases a day?
Yeah.
And he's already talking about
lockdown, yeah. Well, he broke every promise he made. Every promise he made, he broke.
He broke it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Prime Minister Bennett addressed the nation to say that the 5th wave of corona is here, and it started. We have to vaccinate the children. Then again, he used the stage to tell a story of a child that had serious health issues from the coronavirus. Then he went on to say that he will be bringing new restrictions. Now, I don't know if you remember, but week and a half ago, he stood up when he addressed the nation and talked about 2 kids who died from the Omicron in England.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that was found to be false. Now he's doing this again, using the stage of addressing the nation to try to scare parents into getting their kids vaccinated.
He's very good with these little stories that he always telling about. You remember this time when he was sitting and telling, I went to somewhere and I stopped on the road and helped this one. And
it was a joke. Even in America, you have shows that make fun of politicians. Here, it's called Eretz Nehederet. And it's the Israeli
amazing
version.
Country.
It's amazing country. And they used to joke about that because during his campaign, every time he talked, he's like, just on the way here, I stopped. I helped a guy change his tire. And I talked to him about what he wants and what he needs. And every time
his vision of a great Israel and stuff like this.
Always
but
had those stories.
Personal stories. And then they asked the people, and they didn't meet him. That was the thing. It's like, no, he was just coming up from his imagination, I guess.
It's hilarious, yeah. Well, Prime Minister Bennett, after not being able to make the vaccine mandatory in schools, is now pushing to have the teachers take the kids during school hours to clinics like a field trip to get them vaccinated. So your kid goes to school, and then the teacher takes the kid out to a field trip, and it's to a clinic to get vaccinated. But that also didn't pass. But we're just telling you what he keeps pushing for.
Thanks God. Think about it. The whole group going to the clinic to get the vaccine, and what's going on with the kids that their parents didn't give approval for that. They're just going to be left behind in the classroom by themselves.
Are they even going to ask the parents?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, at least we know that plan didn't go through. So we're safe.
Yeah. Well, about Corona again, something strange happened. Apparently, there's a nasal spray, Israeli development, by the way, that claims it can kill COVID and prevent the person from even being infected with it. The nasal spray was scientifically proven to kill 99% of all viruses particles, including COVID-19, within 72 hours. We're hoping our nasal spray will now save many lives of people in countries that are waiting for the vaccine, said Gili Regev, an Israeli-raised biochemist who co-founded with company named Sanotize and developed the spray in Canada. This isn't the strange part. The strange part, was really strange, is that the spray was approved by the Health Ministry of Israel in last January.
A year ago.
And no one heard about it.
That's amazing. So it's just a nasal spray, and it's proven to stop viruses and prevent and even cure.
Kill viruses, because COVID starts, and usually it always starts with your nose.
Respiratory.
So they adjust when you fly somewhere, or you know about you've been close to somebody who was infected. You just use a spray 3-4 times a day, and you're safe. It killed 99% within 72 hours. So it won't go into, even if you're infected, it won't go into a bloodstream. And
this was great about coming up with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but how can it be we didn't hear about it?
Yeah, it's a year ago. Yeah, that's it's all FDA and Ministry of Health, and then it's got the pharmaceutical companies. They want to make their money, so they only promote where they make the big money.
They pushing the vaccines. They
pushing
the other things.
Money.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, in northern Samaria this week, here in Israel, 3 Jews between the ages of 19 and 20 were seriously injured, while one of the 3 was actually killed when driving home on a busy highway. When the terrorist cell opened fire on them, the terrorists were able to shoot them in their car while they were driving down the highway, probably like 60 miles an hour, right? And so the terrorist activity in Israel is really ramping up. I mean, it's ramping up quick. It started with that last 11-day war, the wall guard that we had a few months ago, and then it just keeps going. You can tell it's building up to something. But instead of going in and making the terrorists feel the pain for their actions, where the terrorist cell came from, instead of doing that, what did Prime Minister Bennett do? He sent the IDF in to destroy a few homes that were built in the settlement that these 3 boys that were attacked by terrorists came from. And it just to take, because these few homes that he had, that Naftali Bennett had destroyed by the IDF was illegal homes, because it's still Judea and Samaria. You have, we can't legally expand in those areas because we're settling there, right? Which is insane.
Yeah.
It's our country. And instead of doing something up to the terrorists, he actually goes into...
We're giving them a prize.
Yeah, he gave them a prize.
For what they did. Okay, you killed a Jew. Now we're going to destroy their houses. They won't be there. We'll remove them from this area. So now you can...
Good job.
You did good, yeah.
It's so sad, so sad. Hamas is now training to abduct Israeli soldiers. They're actually... We actually have proof that they're training how to abduct Israeli soldiers and working on secret cells inside Israel to work together when they fire rockets into Israel from Gaza, that they will take out the Iron Dome units in that area. So they would work together with the Hamas agents that are in Gaza, with the Hamas agents that are in Israel, and when they know that they're going to fire, let's say to Tel Aviv or something, right? Well, they'll go and they'll find out where those Iron Dome units are, and they'll destroy them and sabotage them so that they wouldn't work, so that the rockets will come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ramping up. Like I said, it's ramping up.
Yeah.
This week in the U.S. Senate, you guys probably already know about this. The Iron Dome budget to help Israel with its defense against terrorism didn't pass, and that leaves Israel to wait until February when we can hopefully change the minds of the senators there and get our budget for the Iron Dome. You know, America always has been right on Israel's side and everything. And a lot of things, as we know, is going bad in America right now. And this is just one on the list, but now it's threatening lives here in Israel.
The Iron Dome was the main thing that protected us in the last time that we've been attacked. 4,000 rockets, I think it was, right?
4,000 rockets.
4,000 rockets. Iron Dome.
Stopped like 95% of them.
If Iron Dome wasn't there, it was 95% more hits inside Israel. Homes, families, people being killed. So now we don't have budget for that. It's a big thing.
Yeah. It really is a big thing. But hopefully February we'll be able to get the budget through the Senate. The over 100,000 rounds of M16 bullets were stolen from the inside an IDF base in the north of the country here. So that only means one thing. That only means that there was, because that's inside a military base.
Yeah.
That means that some soldier was a traitor and stole these rounds of ammunition to give to the terrorists, right? For some money or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to deal with that kind of stuff.
It's sad.
You know, me being an IDF soldier, the whole thing about being an IDF soldier, it's all about trust, you know? Yeah. And the things that I'm exposed to and I'm around, the IDF trusts me, right? And if I break that trust, that's just horrible.
Yeah.
Well, this past Saturday, a terrorist outside the Cave of the Patriarchs, which again, we've talked about it before. The Cave of the Patriarchs is in Hebron, and it's the cave where Abraham, the father of nations, is buried. Well, a terrorist outside the Patriarch Cave stabbed a Jew on his way to pray. Just like last week, by the way. The exact same thing in the exact same spot. The terrorist was stopped, and the innocent Jew wasn't injured seriously, thank God. Yeah. But like, you know, I'll say it again, and we're going to talk more and more about it. The terrorist activity inside the country is raising up. Like just on Monday and Tuesday night, the terrorists tried to run over. There was a few different terrorist attacks. They tried to run over soldiers and citizens and just whoever they could with their cars. They were not able to seriously injure anyone, and the IDF went into the Arab villages that the terrorists came from and arrested them. But it really is ramping up.
Yeah. Thanks God, no, those people wasn't injured. But
God, you can always tell God's on our side. God's fighting the wars with us and in the battlefield with us, because time and time again these terrorists do horrific acts, and most of the time, with the Jews that were attacked, really aren't that injured. Even though just today we talked about someone who was killed, you know, and bless his family and everything, and God be with him. But unusually, they're not really that injured. So it's just proof that God is with us, right?
But before you move to the next subject, the Jew that was killed last time, you know, it's nice to see people of Israel standing up and help and support these little settlements that they're trying to, the IDF soldiers came to destroy these houses. Thousands and thousands of people came with buses from all over Israel. when the shiva is over, the parents can stand up and walk to the city, that the settlement that they're trying to destroy. People came there and stand with the family, so the government will see, don't destroy this little settlement, don't give the prize to the terrorism. And it's really good to see the people of Israel that united in this little moment.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, it is. And the Shiva is the 7 days people sit after someone dies. Yeah. Yeah, it is heartwarming to see how the country always comes together and the people help each other here. Israelis always have been good at that.
Yes.
Always.
In hard times, we always
stick together and help each other.
It's good to see.
Well, for 3 weeks, President Biden hasn't answered calls from Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Prime Minister Bennett is calling to talk about steps Israel wants to take on Iran. Because Bennett sold Israel out and made a deal with the U.S. that we can't make a move until we tell the U.S. and get the U.S. permission. I don't know if you remember that. That was a few months ago. Prime Minister Bennett did that. He made a deal with the U.S. We can't do anything until we can't do anything in the Middle East, period, and especially Iran, unless America knows about it ahead of time and agrees and approves, right?
Exactly.
Well, Prime Minister Bennett is just not answering, putting Bennett in President Biden is just not answering, putting Prime Minister Bennett in a holding pattern. So this deal that they made, Bennett made, where he has to get permission first, makes it so easy for President Biden to stop us, because all he has to do is not answer the phone.
That's exactly.
And that means I haven't given you permission yet, and you got to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
While Iran gets more and more and more closer to the nuclear power, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing President Biden keeps talking about doing is diplomacy and talking and making deals that are even worse than deals that were made before, that are even with less restrictions for Iran and making it easier for him to get to the nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And I think it's too late already.
Yeah. Well, the IDF has definitely gotten ready. The IDF and the IAF, the Air Force, the Israeli Air Force, has definitely gotten ready for the new reality of nuclear-powered Iran.
Exactly.
And how to deal with everything in those situations, whether it's big or small.
Yeah.
Like last week, we talked about how Israel made things public from like 6 months ago, where we bombed things underground, just to let Iran know, that was us, and yes, we can hit you on your underground bunkers, and we can take care of you things that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah. If you look at the map, it's interesting that Israel, as small as we're all surrounded by Arab countries and Muslims, of course, obviously, and it looks like we are the gate. We are the gate from them. They will kill us if they can, and they'll continue to Greece and Europe,
and America,
and eventually America. And Biden don't see that.
Yep.
It's threat to America too. It's not just our problem, our little domestic
problem.
It's the world's problem. Yes, exactly. And he missed the chance to stop them. I think the chance missed already, but now it's the time to act.
Yep, absolutely.
So you don't understand. I think he don't see the whole picture.
Yep, I 100% agree with you, and I think everyone watching would agree with that too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching another TGR News, and like I said, next week I got to go to the Army, so I'll be busy all week next week. But the week after that, I'll be
gonna miss you, gang.
I'll be back, and everything will go back to normal. All the schedules. I think the week after next week, Ola and I got a nice video for you guys going to the Dead Sea. It's a nice place.
Oh yeah.
A lot of things to see there. So don't forget to join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next week, God bless.
Bye bye.